Welcome to Derry, only on HBO. Every Sunday.
You're watching Silentpinkgamer Reviews.
Hello everyone. Hi. Welcome back to Welcome to Derry. Episode 3 recap. For all the newcomers out there, for the brand new ones to my channel that probably just quickly came by, hi, I am Silentpinkgamer. Well, we rock it out over here. We play all kinds of games, especially horror. I do a lot of original content. I talk a lot about my stories. I talk about things I love. It's just a really fun channel, and all is welcome here, okay? Recently, I've been watching Welcome to Derry, the season on HBO Max. It happens, a new episode comes out every Sunday, guys, so check it out, okay? So this is just a strictly recap. I promised, guys, I'm going to do it straight from the noggin, and it's on time this time. Also, too, keep in mind, guys, it probably will not be in order. And ahead of time, guys, I'm getting quicker with this. Spoiler alert. Lots and lots of spoiler alerts. So, guys, if you don't want to be spoiled, please click off, like this video, say we were here with pink hearts, so I'll let you know that you were here. I greatly appreciate all that and all the love and all the comments. But save it and come back and listen to what you think I thought, and just kind of like a recap, just in case you missed something. Okay, guys? So let's go ahead and jump straight into it. This episode, I'm gonna tell you right now, was extremely extremely interesting. We got a lot more of the Pennywise effect. We got more of that action. Episodes 1 and 2 was more lining up the elements, lining up all the information, but now we're starting to get into the juicy stuff, okay? So ahead of time, guys, I don't know how long this will be, so sit down, relax, listen to it in your headphones in the background as you cook, clean, play some video games, and just listen to me speak, okay? So let's get into it. So the episode opens where you get a flashback. You meet a young Francis Shaw. If you guys remember Francis Shaw, he is one of the superiors in the military that's pretty much laid back. He's a pretty chill dude in the military. He's very nice and very nice on Leroy. He's very accepting so far that we know of, okay? So we get a flashback when he's a child with his father at, what do you know, a circus, a carnival, right? So he ends up going into a freak show initially where he sees all the strange and unknown, right? But then he encounters something in the back of the freak show, like in the unknown parts of when it was just dark. Then he encounters a very strange, skinny, bony, clearly emaciated, sickly man, clearly not normal in his head. He runs out terrified because this thing launches out at him. He bumps into his father. His father gives him a slingshot. Keep in mind about that slingshot. So his father gives it to him. His father also told him to stop being a wimp. Good job, father, right? Then they drove off, right? So that gives you some background on Francis Shaw. So he clearly experienced Pennywise at a young age. So from there, you also find out that he ends up, when they were driving back home, the father stopped to fix a tire, fix his car. When he told him, hey, if you're thirsty, here's some money, go get some money from the little stand that these native children have, right? So he goes there, asks for a jar of water. He didn't have enough to pay, so he gives her the slingshot, implied, of course, because they didn't have enough, because she's like, oh, is that a slingshot? So from there, you find out that Francis and this native girl, one of the native girls, you find out that they end up being really good friends, right? Over time, like during the summer, they played in the lake together. They had a good time. So one time, till a fine day, he runs into the forest. He encounters that same creature or same being from the circus, and it chases him, and it distorts in a distorted, leggy spider crazy kind of way, chases him down. She comes back with the slingshot, hits him with a rock to deter him, escapes with Francis, and he's like, whoa, like, what's going on? Why can't we go no forest? She said, well, can you keep a secret? Okay, so then eventually they kind of go back into reality, right? So let's go back into school. So as you guys know from the last episode, Ronnie's father was arrested. And obviously, you know, Ronnie has the eyes on her in school because what do kids do? They like to mock and make fun. So Ronnie is experiencing that, calling him Hatchet Hank. Put it on her locker saying that he's going to fry. So she's having a rough time in school. Of course, Lily by her side saying, trying her best to be a friend. And she's trying to convey that, hey, it didn't matter what I did because I still went back to the loony bin. So I'm here to help you. So they initially come up with this great dramatic plan to catch proof of this entity. And like I said, guys, this is not in order. I know that you're probably thinking like, wait, this happened, wait, I get it, guys. I told you it's not in order. I'm going in a way that I feel like it makes a little bit more sense to me, okay? So bear with me, okay? So yeah, so they said let's get proof, right? So obviously they didn't know anybody who knows how to develop film. Ronnie thinks she knows who might be able to develop film. So let's get back to the military, right? So the military guys, right? Francis Shaw, the adult Francis Shaw, basically informs Leroy that, hey, we need to get more information about these beacons around the main point of interest, and we need to discover them fast because they're not having good luck with it. We find out also that car that was pulled up, vehicle, was actually part of the massacre that happened in Derry years ago. Yes, it wasn't the car as I thought with Maddie, but hey, we at least know that they pulled up the car from the massacre. And as you guys know, what did I say stated in the beginning? Pennywise comes back after so many years when a major event happens, a major catastrophe. Probably pronounced that all kinds of wrong, but hey, some words I have a hard time with. But regardless of that, a major event happens, and that was one of the major events. Is it a beacon? Who knows? But the point is, the car was stripped. Nothing was in there but bone, skeleton, dirt, and bullets holes. Right? Crazy. Okay. So then he's like, hey, we're gonna take the what do they call him? They call him like the mime, the seer of all eyes. That's not the exact words they use, but it's basically what he is. He's the beacon to the map, and they need him to point a direction. The strange gentleman, I'm probably going to get his name wrong. I'll put his name on the screen, but they say take Vorlin. I think I pronounced his name wrong, but I'll put it on the screen. They say, hey, take him up. And he's like, what is he basically trying to figure out? What does he has to do with this? And he didn't really understand what was going on. So they take him up in the air, right? It is Leroy and his pal that he came in with, driving this plane. He's in the back. He's asking him, Verlin, well, hey, what's going on? What is that in the box? It's like a cigarette box, an old-fashioned cigarette box. He's like, don't worry about it. You're not going to believe me if I tell you. Don't worry about it, basically. Kind of shoo him away. So eventually, he opens the box, okay? He opens the box, he puts his hand on there, he starts having these visions. And some people believe that it's connected to The Shining. Now, obviously, I didn't get investigation into that. I'm just focusing so much of what I see within the episodes. That's it. Nothing more. But we can go into some theories later. But I thought that was an interesting thing to point out, that some people are connecting to the whole vision quest as The Shining, but we'll get into that later. So he touches it, he tells him to turn a certain way, then eventually he gets initially teleported into Pennywise's mental space. His mental bubble, right? So when he gets there, he's still on the plane, he walks in and it transitions, beautiful transitions into a vault or a sewer, and the big metal door closes to close off the hole, right? So he's looking around, he's seeing that there's shit in the water. He's like, where the fuck am I? Verlin, by the way, it's just Verlin, it's just him, okay? So he's the only one that can enter this Pennywise space, okay? So then from there, Penny does a big wooden square or wooden box or wooden circus cart that's destroyed now that says Pennywise on it. So it opens and then it's just darkness, and then all Verlin sees is yellow eyes and asks him, what are you doing here? Who are you? So clearly Pennywise didn't know who he was, and he didn't know who that was, and he was like, what the fuck? Because also Sue, while he was looking around, he notices a big pile of toys. I'm assuming it's just toys. That's what it looks like, but it was a shadow of a whole bunch of things because things were falling. Houses, bunny rabbits, little cars and stuff like that. So toys were falling, so we can assume that it was a whole big pile of toys. And guess what everybody was doing? Floating. As Pennywise favors word, we all float down here. So then Verlin sees his grandmama and she says, you need to basically get the fuck up out of here, bro. He don't want you here, you need to go. So then he tries to escape, right? But obviously his mind is still connected to that world. So in the plane, it's like he's opening about to commit the S word. You get my drift. So Verlin saves him. He closes the hatch, or the guy, his friend, close the hatch. He saves him. He's like, what's going on? Okay. And before, when he was trying to get, Francis Shaw and his team back there, especially the special unit, to get them, hey, can we come back? Especially when he wasn't responding to them. He was getting concerned for like what, they didn't know what to expect. Basically, they said no and kept going, and this is what happened. So then eventually it transferred back into where Francis Shaw checks on Verlin in the hospital. And from there, he's like, hey, are you okay? What's going on? What did you see? He's like, it's cold. It's whatever it is, it doesn't want us there. And if something happens, we gonna be screwed, basically. His words, like, we shouldn't be dabbling where we're not supposed to be dabbling at, okay? So he kind of gets irritated. You can tell by his facial expressions. He got severely irritated by that response. But he was like, you know what? Okay, cool. He said, if there's anything I can do for you, just let me know. So basically, he's using this guy's mental ability, and he's exchanging them for certain gifts, privileges on base. So that's why he has certain privileges other than other people. Because I think deep down inside, there's a theory that he's probably not going to make it out of this alive. So for a few little bit of luxuries, in the sense of getting what he wants and possibly ending with this guy dying, who cares, right? Okay, cool. There's also another moment in the military where, actually no, we're at the police station now. My bad, guys. We're at the police station now, where the head police officer was talking to Ronnie's father in prison. They had a short conversation, basically saying that, trying to get him to confess to the murders when he know for a fact he didn't commit them. And he's basically saying like, hey, somebody saw you in the papers, and they put two and two together, bam, bam, bam. Ronnie's father said, hey, that doesn't make it right. And then he walks out, and you already know they're going to still ship him off and blame him for it, right? Short and simple, right? So Rose is the little native girl that I mentioned that played with Francis. So Francis came and stopped by her antique shop, that same antique shop that got the telescope that Leroy bought for his son Will, the new little boy that also goes to school with Ronnie, Lily, and their new friend Rich. Yes, all connected, right? So he Francis Shaw comes to talk to Rose because her and her native people are tired of them destroying native land, ancient burial grounds. And her people are concerned that they're going to destroy their ancestors' burial grounds. And as we all know in all horror movies, guys, you do not disturb ancient burial grounds. Like, come on, it's a common trope that we should all be used to by now, and we're still doing it. Like, we're still doing it as the human race, destroying ancient native burial grounds. But I digress, right? So they have a meeting that the native community, and they're saying like, hey, we need to do something about this. They're gonna dig too deep, they're gonna go too far, and they're gonna destroy precious earth. And of course, Rose is trying to please both ends. She wants to know more on what they're doing, and she's probably honestly trying to figure out what she saw too and what's in the forest. And she's also trying to appease her people by keeping them at bay, by going through the steps and the channels, but also giving her more time to figure out what's going on. You also find out it was her son, I'm assuming it's her son, and his friends were the ones watching them as they were breaking in ground, and he's reporting back to her. Okay, so of course her son was very unhappy with her responses, but she wants to know why. So when Francis came back to the store, you find out that Rose does know something. Her people know something, but they don't know exactly what, right? They don't know exactly what it is. We still don't know the secret. It wasn't revealed in episode 3, right? But also too, you find out they kept saying that Derry has a way of making people forget. So you remember that time, guys. If you haven't checked out It, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, go watch those movies. The original is a 3-hour-long movie, so brace yourself with that one. Watch the original, watch the remake. You get what I mean. Because when the kids leave and go off and, you know, have a good life outside of Derry, they completely forgot until, guess who called them? Mike called him to bring them back to Derry of the promise they made to, if it came back, they were going to handle his ass, right? So Derry has a way of making people forget. And so Francis didn't realize that until he came back to Derry and saw her name on the paper to basically cease and desist with going towards the land. Francis like, well, hey, can we meet in the middle? Basically, is there any way that we can meet in the middle? You can tell me which parts we can't do, and we will go around that part so we both win. We can still dig and you still get your sacred lands protected. Obviously, it's not going to work out that way, but that's what Francis is trying to do. And she's like, well, I don't believe you. I don't think so. So basically, you know, they still have some connection there. There's still some love there. But obviously, she's trying to do right by her people. He's trying to do right by his job. Yes. Yes. Right? It's so crazy. This whole episode is so crazy. Right? So then there's also a point where Leroy invites Verlin over to his house. He really wants to know what's happened, what was going on. Because let's be real, Leroy do not believe. He knows something fishy is going on. It's too weird. Someone sets him up to get jumped to see if he was cut out for a mission that he still fully doesn't understand, looking for beacons around something that's the point that's supposed to create fear. That's what, you know, so that basically tells you that Francis experienced Pennywise, and Francis knows about Pennywise. He just doesn't know exactly what Pennywise is. He knows, he's experienced it clearly, him and Rose as children. It's just he can't figure exactly what it is and why it's here, but he wants to use it to prevent, as he says, to prevent war, or put war in his hands to make sure he's the dominant party. Okay, so he wants to use this beacon, this thing, as a weapon. Okay, so when Leroy invites him over, his wife obviously is very sweet, you know, very kind, and you get into it. So then the juicy parts, right, is he slips up. Verlin says, oh, how's your son? Where's your son? He's like, oh, he's out with friends, and he thought that was suspicious, right? So when they went outside on the porch to talk a little bit, sorry guys, burp. So when he went outside a little bit to talk, Leroy's like, how do you know about my son? I never told you about my son. He's like, oh, you know, somebody on base basically told me. Nothing's going on, la 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 la. Try to like brush it off. And Leroy's like, I knew you were one of the guys that jumped me. Yeah, you didn't physically lay your hands on me, but you were sitting in the background with a mask. I know, it's your demeanor. I felt it. And he was like, oh, okay. You know, you could tell like he didn't deny it, but he didn't agree with it either. He kind of just like, oh, okay. He's like, you know, get out of my head. He's like, stop doing it. So he knows something with his mind is going on, and that's how he figured out what Leroy is about. But also, so he mentions Leroy wasn't scared. He had a mentality like death wasn't at his door. He doesn't have no fear. He like he said, most people think about their children and their wife and their job, or you know, something that they love sentimentally, right, before they die, when they're looking death in the face. But he did not. He had no type of fear whatsoever. Like, it was just no fear. So from there, his wife disturbs. She's like, hey, who wants cake? He's like, I want cake, Braylon said. And then that's kind of where they went into the house to eat cake. So after that point, Leroy still realized there's something strange in Derry. He can't quite put his finger on it, but there's something weird going on. Alright? So after that, Rich and Will is becoming best friend. Will is Leroy's son. Rich is one of the kids in the school. Kind of like a same side character, main character, right? They're eating burgers at the local shop. You see Lily's mom works there. She's in the background handing them the burgers and the fries. Cute, right? So then Ronnie and Lily pops up, beats on the window. And of course, Rich is like, what does Ronnie want with you? And he's like, you know, he didn't say nothing. They walked out. So that's when she's like, hey, can you develop film? Do you know the chemicals to use to develop film? Because Lily and Ronnie realize that they can't just give this film and this proof to anybody once they get it, because you don't want it to get lost. You don't want it to disappear. So then from there, he was like, okay, cool. He's like, what is it for? Like, what's going on? And she's like, you're not going to believe me. He said, try me. So then as Rich and Will was walking home, they were like, he's like, do you believe her? He's like, I believe that she believes it, but I don't really believe it. So eventually they all meet up at the spot where Phil, Teddy, Lily, Susie were all chilling, and Maddie at one point in time, all chilling. The big what should we call it? The Fort House, the Fort building. Yeah, so they all meet up there on the roof, and they discuss the plan. So then you find out that Rich discussed that, you know, he's Cuban, and he was talking about entities and spirits that are brought back from the dead to wreak havoc on people. So he was trying to give some background and help out. That he was saying that his uncle cousin basically told him about this information. So they decided to try to summon Pennywise initially to get proof to show the cops that Ronnie's father is not the culprit, right? And from there, they go to the cemetery, right? So they go to the cemetery, they put the candles up, they do everything that Rich said, that his uncle cousin said, and they wait. He starts saying some prayers that he said is a prayer to wake the dead. Of course, they were kind of like, okay, you know, he didn't really know what he was doing, let's be real. He was adorable, he didn't know exactly what he was doing, but he was trying, right? So basically, it got to a point where it was discovered he didn't know what he was doing. So the plan goes up in smoke. Ronnie gets pissed. She walks off and gets on the bike. Lily goes with her. So as they're trying to leave, right? As they're trying to leave, something is weird going on. The environment is elongating. Something is changing. The winds are not blowing in their way. So then they realize the boys catch up to them because Rich felt bad. You know, he's like, I was just trying to help. You know, obviously, Will has a little crush or some type of sentimental, emotional connection to Ronnie. But obviously he's not admitting it right now. So they all catch up. They're riding their bucks, trying to get out of the cemetery. All trying to escape from the cemetery. So then the ground around them starts to crack. Things are starting to get distorted. Creepy shit's going bump in the night is happening at this space. So they're trying to run around, avoid the cracks in the earth, lava and shit like that. Next you know it, Rich sees his uncle cousin, one of his ancestors that died, try to attack him. Eventually they all start seeing the dead kids except for Phil. You see Teddy, you see Susie, you see Cousin, but you don't see Phil, interesting enough. But they're all attacking them, and the effect was crazy. It felt like Fatal Frame with bikes, okay? I loved it. They were all trying to take pictures of the ghost, trying to get proof. They were playing hot potato with the camera. The camera kept falling. Someone else picks it up. Like, it was crazy. It was a crazy scene. It got to a point where Will ends up falling down, getting chased by Susie, and then he comes up to like this crypt initially. Then he sees him, so he tries to take a picture. So eventually he catches up with the crew. They go get the film developed. They see all their faces, Susie's, Teddy's, uncle cousin. And then they see a strange creature in the background that Will took. And they were like, it's a clown. And that's where it ends, guys. A quick little recap. If there's anything I missed, of course, guys, put it in the comment and let me know. It's so interesting the way that they're doing this season and this episode. To be honest with you, I didn't know how they were going to stretch it out, but I love it so far. I can't wait to see more. I can't wait till we get into the depths of this. I really do hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I really hope you did. It's been a great experience so far watching this. Go check it out on HBO every Sunday. But regardless of that, guys, I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a like, give it a share, interact, guys. I need those views. It helps out the channel greatly. I will greatly appreciate that if you do that for me. Alright, guys, I will see you soon. Bye.